This is Daryl Johnson
and Tampa Bay Tammy.
wishing all our listeners all over the world
Happy holidays.
happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you.
From In Touch News
and radio.
The views and opinions expressed on this show are those of the host, guests, and callers who are responsible for their content and do not reflect the opinions of In Touch Radio or its staff.
Ho, ho, ho. Open up your door. It's Santa Claus, and guess what, y'all? I got something to show. Something for the rich and something for the poor. All right, y'all, if you real hip-hop fans, you remember that from back in the 80s when it broke out. I think the one of the Christmas Time of Hollis Queens is another great rap song. In fact, it would be a great thing if you all were to go out and Google great rap songs as we celebrate the Christmas season. You're live on In-Touch News Radio, reality radio. Everybody could be a star. My name is Clint Paris, and I'm the host of Straight Up the Middle, which we mainly talk about politics and things that are connected to politics. But as you can see from my shirt, I am deep into the holiday spirit. I was so excited. I got my lights up early this year, got my Christmas tree up, and I was really excited this week when I was the first one in the household to get my gifts wrapped and under the tree. And my wonderful wife took me out. We called a sale. I've been looking to upgrade my mountain bike, and she took me out, got me a new Levo Specialized Mullet 27.5 electric e-bike is what they call them. And I took it out riding last night. And if you zoom in close on the video, if you listen on In-Touch News Radio, you can also watch the live streaming on YouTube and on Facebook. If you zoom in, you'll see I got a red eye. My right eye is red because I was going so fast yesterday out on the trails. I got hit in the eye by a rock. And I quickly got back to my car and added, I need new riding goggles to my list of gifts that I'm asking my people out there who buy me gifts. So if you want to send me a gift, it's some riding goggles to make sure I stay safe. But I'm deep into the Christmas spirit, celebrating. It's a great time, and hopefully wherever you are, whatever you're doing, you are as well. And then I don't want to make this a religious dynamic here, but whether you're religious or not, and you are a Christian and correlate celebrating Christmas with the birth of Christ, celebrate it secularly. It is okay to buy people gifts and celebrate them for who and what they are, to share the wealth of this wonderful economy that Joe Biden is providing us. Because people say the economy is tough. I couldn't get in the mall. There's not a place I've been where people aren't out shopping, buying, and making things happen. So this narrative that, the economy is not doing well, that doesn't mean that prices aren't up a little bit higher than they were last year, as they always are. Some supplies are not at the top peak of supplies, but most things that you want to get, you can buy. I think you can find it either on, Amazon or in the malls or somewhere. It's findable. So this is a great time to celebrate, though. I often say this, I'm writing a book, and in my book, the book is called A Great Man Once Said. And each chapter starts with A Great Man Once Said. And one of those things is, a great man once said, celebrate when you can, because when you can't celebrate, there's nothing you can do about it but suffer. So right now is a great time to get out, celebrate. We don't know what tomorrow holds. Well, we do know what tomorrow holds. It holds something other than what today is. But get out, celebrate, make sure you're enjoying this time that we have, because it's a lot better than people want to make you out to believe. But today we're going to talk some politics. The professor's going to call in a little bit later on. So he's out getting his dome greased and trimmed and getting his Christmas cut. So he's going to call in a little bit later on. So that gives me some time to talk about some stuff that I think is quite interesting. I'm getting more and more alarmed about our democracy, the principles upon which our democracy relies, and the structures that hold it together. One of those structures that has held our democracy together is not its perfection. and it's not even in its ability to deliver what is best. It is the idea that we can always make it better, that we can make it better. This week I cooked southern fried cabbage, the undulé, Cajun sausage and maple bacon fried down, nice and greasy, onions, bell peppers, huge, massive cloves of garlic in there. I just got it all bubbling and juicy and sloshy. Threw some cabbage in there and seasoned it up, and man, made me some cornbread. Oh, it was so good. And every time I make it, I remember, you know what? You can make this better. That's our democracy. We can make our democracy better. But this is the first time I don't feel like that's the effort. Right now, I feel like forces on both sides, the Democratic side and the Republican side, they're working to tear the democracy down. What Al Gore did in 2000 was about making our democracy better and stronger, not damaging it. We're not seeing those kind of behaviors from people in leadership. Most of the people that we see running for office, and I'm going to put Joe Biden in that category. Now, for anybody who's a new listener to the show, I got a news flash. I am a very liberal Democrat. Very liberal Democrat. And I associate liberal with compassion for others' rights to be and do as they choose. I associate conservatism with rules and restrictions and limitations on what individuals can do. So when I say I'm a liberal Democrat, that's the framework I'm placing it in. I really believe it's your right to do and be and how and say and function how you want to function is completely up to you. But what I'm watching right now is, first of all, the people in our politics are not our best and brightest. There's no way you can tell me that. Let's take this call real quick. Good morning, caller. You're on Intech News Radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning. This is the professor. How are you?
I am fine, Professor. The question is, the listeners want to know, did you get the Christmas cut yet? Is it all tightened up?
Oh, it is tight. It has more salt than I wanted, but, I can't do the box. I can't do the box, Dad. So we're running with the salt and pepper.
But it's natural salt. It's what it is, right? It is what it is.
It is.
I'm sure it looks fat. Well, thank you for calling. Listen, I was just commenting on something, and you may not have heard me, is that, I just don't like the people that we're getting in our politics right now. And that includes Joe Biden. I really would like somebody else. I don't know who else. I don't know that on the Democratic side, it's now Gavin Newsom. I don't know enough about Hakeem Jeffries yet, but there are some other folks out there. I'm just thinking not just on the Democratic side, and the Republican side. I mean, Nikki Haley to me seems like an okay person. Of course, politics ruins most people because it makes you give people what they want to hear and see as opposed to what you think is best and desire to do. But what are your thoughts about the whole pool of political candidates from our governor on up? Do you think these are people that really represent the best America has to offer?
Wow, that is a deep and a loaded question, and just let me start by saying I don't think I've ever known you to be this transparent. I mean, you even throwing Joe Biden under the bus. You didn't even mention Kamala Harris. I mean, I'm choked up over here. I'm just choked up on it.
But listen, well, unchoke yourself and give us your thought.
Well, I agree. I agree. And the irony of your question is I'm haunted by something you typically say, and I've heard a couple other people, this whole American experience. And my natural comeback is, how long does this experiment take? I mean, we have the results. We know who we are. We know who we're not. America is not what it used to be in a number of different ways. So now when we're talking politics, I think we've just turned the page in how we approach things. just by what they're doing to Donald Trump. Whether you like him or not, we've never seen this. And we're seeing political parties pull out stops that I have to actually find old history books to find an example. Like, has this ever been done? Because I'm not a history buff. And, has this ever been done to this degree? So it's absolutely crazy. So I don't love I don't love the group of politicians. But I mean, I don't know who I have loved as far as a politician. And now, since you were so honest, and I've said it before, I don't know if people believe me, I voted for Barack Obama, and I really liked Barack Obama the first 4 years. I mean, I was like, man, this dude is okay. Well, let me take that. Maybe not the first 4 years. First 2.5 years, he was cool. But then policies got in the way. So that's really the only politician that I can really go back to and say, I really like this guy.
Well, he turned out to be for the most part, I think he was as advertised. He was inexperienced, very bright, very, very idealistic, and he got hit with some realities. I've grown to like George Bush, both Bushes after they were in office. I never came around to Reagan. And Bill, he sold us a bill of goods and whatnot. But my concern is now in this space that we're in, we get people, I think, that have flawed character, and character is what you do when nobody's, listening. So what we see is what it is. I can imagine what these people do, some of them in private, and that leads to where we are, because I think just so we're on the record, from day one, I was never in favor of impeaching Donald Trump. And I always said it will weaken our democracy. I was in favor of trying to impeach Bill Clinton. And I probably wouldn't have been in favor of any impeachment of Richard Nixon, but he never was impeached. They were working on it when he went ahead and resigned and all that kind of stuff. The reason I bring that up, though, Professor, is to say, so last week, the Colorado Supreme Court said Donald Trump can't be on their ballot. I'm already hearing rumblings from some Republicans of ways to get Joe Biden off some ballots. And the more of anything you do where it doesn't involve stopping someone from voting for the person they want to vote for, weakens our democracy. When you heard about the Colorado ruling, what were your thoughts, and what are your thoughts now about that decision and how it impacts the presidential race?
Well, I thought something else is going on. They said it about COVID. What's going on? They're trying to take our attention away from something. You typically hear that said when something like that happens. And it is actually what I thought, because not knowing not being a lawyer, not being a constitutional anybody buff, like, okay, I thought we've had that discussion. I thought there's been enough legal opinions that this will not fly if it got to the Supreme Court. So I don't think it's about making it stick. It's trying to stop Trump. I really thought something about Biden is about to drop. Not so much the names on the Epstein list. There may be something that Comer or Jordan has that's finally going to hit public and make more of a wave as far as what they're trying to do, impeach Joe Biden. Something has to be in the background to make Colorado Supreme Court do something like that. And then now you're revisiting that with other courts, and then the knee-jerk reaction like the Republicans are doing. And I don't even have any faith that the Republicans as a group can pull that off. I don't think they have the backbone. And they've shown time after time that they don't have the backbone to do something like that.
You mentioned something interesting. One of the things that made the 80s Lakers such a memorable basketball team was Larry Bird and the Celtics.
Mm-hmm.
It made them relevant. One of the things that's always hurt the Houston Rockets when they won the NBA championship was nobody thought they beat anybody. They really didn't have a rival. See, the Democratic Party needs a strong Republican Party to make the Democratic Party viable and cohesive. And each one of them, feeds off the other, and unfortunately you're right about this idea that we cannot. But let me do this, Professor, real quick. We want to take a quick break, come back, and let's just kind of map out, well, how will this impact the presidential race? Okay, if you can hang on there for a moment, I'd appreciate it. This is In Touch News Radio, reality radio. Everybody can be a star. We'll be right back after this quick break.
In Touch Radio is smooth soul.
Rocking your radio on the sounds of soul.
Playing your favorite R&B. In Touch Radio. Call Ricky. Ask Ricky. You need medical or a lawyer? I got the man to do the legwork for you. We tried the other ones before, so believe we hunted down 813-248-6300. Everything gon' be okay. Call Ricky, he coming. He taking care of state of Florida. Grab a pen of sundown. 184-361-RICK. That's 184-361-425. Never word from the point forward, just recline. Just ask Ricky, plus your boy stay fine. Just in case you missed it, I'ma tell you one more time. 184-361-RICK. Call Ricky, ask Ricky. Is a legal medical referral service. The doctors and lawyers in our network are trained in handling auto injury claims and giving you the best medical treatment and recovery. Now 1-844-361-RICK. That's 1-844-361-7425. Ricky. Ask Ricky. You've been injured, you deserve help from an attorney that knows how to handle your injury claim. This is attorney Clinton Paris from the law office of Clinton Paris. For over a decade, I worked for insurance companies, and now I use that knowledge and experience to help people that have been injured. For a free consultation, call me, attorney Clinton Paris, at 813-413-7924. That's 813-413-7924, or at parislawoffice.com. At the law office of Clinton Paris, we take the pain out of being hurt. Offices, Riverview.
All right, we're back live on In Touch News Radio, reality radio. Everybody can be a star. Again, my name is Clinton Paris. I'm one of the co-hosts of Straight Up the Middle. Got my other co-host, the Professor Tony Seabrook, on the phone. Professor, I just got a note from somebody say, look like you got poked in your eye. And I'm like, yeah. So I was saying before, you may not, I got a new mountain e-bike that gives you the boost when you ride. So I'm cruising now close to probably 20 plus miles an hour easy on the trails. I mean, you flying. I mean, literally flying. And so I got a rock that flew up in the air yesterday, hit me in the eye. So my eye's bloodshot from, taking one for the team. So yes, I did get hit in the eye. So we'll put that to rest. No one needs to.
The same conversation? Wasn't that the same conversation where I questioned why do people have a boost up? You can't do it naturally. I think you were trying to convince me why this technology was good, boosting going faster than you can naturally go.
It is, man. It is. Listen, it's spectacular. That's all I can say.
Okay.
Dude, hey, man, it's like perpetually going downhill. It's like skiing. Where your amount of exertion has nothing to do how fast you go. You're just going. So, but I'm all padded up, man. I just didn't have my goggles yesterday, and sure enough, man, I couldn't even believe how much stuff is flying up, but it's a game changer. If anybody that's riding bikes, man, you need to get your e-bike. It's a game changer. But that being said, so we're talking a little bit about this Colorado thing, and I think the spillover there, Professor, is one. First of all, it doesn't have an impact because Trump's never going to win Colorado, right? So you ain't like you really affected the race, but you can cater to your base by letting them know we're still looking to try to get rid of him being on the ballot. And my thoughts are, I want everybody on the ballot who reasonably should be on the ballot, and then let the people decide if you want a true democracy. Anytime you say to me somebody can't be on you create these hurdles of people either being on the ballot or people being able to vote. That's a sign to me that you don't have confidence in your democracy, because democracy say we want the people who are subject to whatever is happening to be the ones to vote. How do you see this impacting the presidential race, or is it going to impact it at all?
Well, I don't think he would have stopped Trump, and I didn't even really consider whether Trump would win Colorado. I didn't even think about that. But now since you said that, of course, that makes perfect sense. So again, why would they do it? And then why would Joe Biden, let me put this in because you didn't mention it, why would Joe Biden start to go out and say, well, yeah, he was an insurrectionist? Why is he weighing on that now when he's trying to distance himself and let Merrick Garland run this corrupt investigation and this whole process of investigating Trump? Why would Joe Biden start to say it now? And that's why I'm convinced they're trying to cover up something else. They're trying to get, yet something, turn another corner with Trump to try to peel away at his lead. No matter who's coming in second place, we're going to talk about that. No matter who's in second place, Trump has like a 30-point lead. So second place never matters.
Right. So you want to talk about that? So his lead in the Republican primary is so massive. The only hope Nikki Haley may have is kind of a Hail Mary when you get to Super Tuesday, and you have the southern states. But I just don't think those states are going to vote for a woman. I just don't think America across the board, not Clint, but America will vote for a woman. This country is a weird country. Even women don't like successful women, So I worry about her if she turns south, But listen, so Trump's going to probably win Iowa. Is it time though for some of these other people to get out of the race? Like DeSantis, he's now in third. Christie's not doing anything and almost has abandoned Iowa, and he's only working up in the Northeast. But is it a time for those, Christie, Ramaswamy, and DeSantis? I think DeSantis, his PAC just canceled all the rest of its fundraisers, didn't it? Say that they're not even going to try to raise any more money. So that's almost like they're raising the white flag. He's looking for an exit ramp. That's what it sounds like, doesn't it? When they say we're not going to raise any more money, clearly you don't have enough money to get to the finish line already. That says to me, this thing is a done deal. And listen, I'm going to tell you something about candidates. I had a friend of mine once who got in a race, and then about a month or so later, I donated to him, some other folks we did some fundraisers, and then he called me and said he was getting out the race, and I said, you can't get out the race. He said, why can't I get out the race? I said, because you got my money. I want my money back. I want my money back. I said, I gave you my money to be in the race. If you're not going to be in the race, you're going to give me my money back. And any of my friends who donated to you, I want their money back too. Or you stay in the race and just take your whooping. I think that's where DeSantis is at. He just got to take his whooping. But is it time that some of these people you think drop out of the race, Professor?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Do you think it's time some of these people drop out of the race and see what Nikki? Because I think the only viable person is Nikki Haley.
You're right.
Yeah, I would love to. Yeah.
And so I still go back to my theory, and I think a lot of Trump's base, which is a solid 33, 35% of the Republican Party, I think they feel the same way. If the leading Republican, or not lead, the second person in the race can somehow team up, you can't do it in the public way, but work with the Democrats on the back end to knock Trump down, that's what they need. And although they've all gone at Trump, have you noticed the tone? It's like, well, I'm going to say it, and I say what I want to say. Nobody tell me what not to say, but they always say it in a polite way. Christie's the only one who would be, wanting to be the bad guy and badmouth Trump. The others have a very controlled tone. Even when they try to diss Trump, it's in a very respectful way. And I
Right.
believe that's because they know they can't move him out the way. They need something else to happen, like this Colorado thing. They need that to grow legs, if you will. They need for some other states to try the same thing. And that, I think they're just trying to discourage his base, the voters. Because I don't think they're going to win moderates that way. I don't think they're going to win independents doing what they're doing. So all this has to be to the Democratic base at some point. And for Joe Biden, again, to go back and start chiming in about him being an insurrectionist, it's like, okay, at this point, seriously, the guy has 4 indictments. He's in court. You have the most votes in history. Why are you chiming in to try to beat your opponent down? So it's all relative. And I may not be able to articulate it in the best email because you're really good at tying them together and making it sound good, but that's behind the scenes. And
Right.
Nikki Haley, the only hope she has is that the Democrats win at what they're doing. She can't do it. You're right. I mean, she has, I think her likability is not, it's much more than DeSantis. But I'm not sold on her, and I'm from South Carolina. She's never my governor. I wasn't there then, but you know, I just don't.
I tell you the thing that I go back with her is she took down that Confederate flag. She took it that to me, because she took it down at a time when it was very unpopular to do so, right? There was no upside for her politically, and it was something that we've been trying to get done for a long time. And that says to me, she kind of gets the bigger issue with America and some of its racial history. She gets it. Some people are confused. You talk to them, you know, they're like confused about what the war was about, the history of the war, all that kind of stuff, history of racism and they're all confused about it. They're like, oh no, it was great back in the 50s, except for, you know, it was great except for, you know, that kind of deal. But I think that's going. Here's what I think is a bigger risk factor right now to Trump that just came out. It's this recording up in Michigan. If before, you know, he's on the phone with Rasberger and the guy is not in a position to do what Trump is trying to do. He can't do it because he can't go find votes. He doesn't have that ability. So it's kind of like me asking, you know, somebody to do something that they don't have the authority to do. But he contacted Canvas workers and tried to get them to change their vote. And they tried to go and do it. It just was too late. That, to me, is going to be his biggest problem, I think. And Karl Rove explains it really, really well on Fox News. Now, we know Karl Rove is no friend of the Democrats. I'm not sure if he's
He's no friend of Donald Trump either.
but he doesn't go out. He doesn't really go against Donald Trump. He really doesn't. That, to me, he has not played partisanship. He stayed out of most stuff. I thought that was quite telling when he said, look, this is very different here. That piece of evidence. Now, the only thing I have concern about is no one's playing the recording. They keep saying, well, we've heard the recording. You know, the newspapers have heard it. They verified it. It's, you know, but it's not been played yet. That to me is the one hang up. But I think that to me is going to be a bigger issue for Trump. How do you think that plays into and let me say this about Trump's base real quick. There's nothing you can do to his base. There's nothing you can do to his base. No matter what you say about Donald Trump, they're going to say, you know, he's Trump. And it's fake news. Fake news, fake news. It's Trump, you know, fake news. So I don't know that there's any really. So I think these other candidates, they're not talking. Only one talking to his base is a little bit is Christie, but the rest of them are talking to moderates and independents. That's where I think Nikki Haley's making ground. But how do you think this issue in Michigan comes back and impacts the race at all?
Well, I heard about the tape, and I'm glad you said that they're not playing because I don't know anyone else who said something that was actually on the tape. To me, it sounds like a whole lot of Adam Schiff. Well, we got it. I mean, I got this. I have the goods on it. I have the goods on it. Again, something to try to shake him because why is this tape just now being talked about?
I agree with you. I have the same questions.
So, again, it sounds like a bunch of Adam Schiff. That's an Adam Schiff tactic. We got it. Oh, I have proof that he's done so-and-so. Well,
let me say this. Okay, so yeah.
CEO.
But there's a.
Here's what I told you guys. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, the fact that Fox News is reporting it, right, says to me that the newspaper has shared. See, there are some journalism standards out there, right, that have to be met.
Really?
Yeah, they exist. They exist. Sometimes the news media gets scandaled, and some of the opinion shows. But if you watch the time period on the news, still, I think it's a 6 o'clock hour, right? You're still going to get some objective news on most of your stations, right? And then we move back into the opinion, shows and, all that kind of stuff. But I was watching the Fox News where I watch them to get the floor for credibility because they're at the low point for me. So I watch Fox News to see the floor. And if Brett Baer brings something on his show, that means that he's applied standard journalism credibility procedures to that story, which would have required the newspaper that reported it to share the sources for that story. And then Fox News says, yeah, that's reliable. Now, you're going to hear in all those stories, everybody refers back to whatever this newspaper is in Michigan, where theoretically they are in possession of this phone call. And they all refer back to that. Otherwise, they look like clowns, and Fox News gets sued again for $700 million. So I think that from that perspective, I'm going to say, okay, close enough, and it seems like the kind of thing Trump would do. How does it affect anything in the race, though?
Well, I just don't think it's going to do much. And so I've already used the Adam Schiff and Nancy Pelosi tactic. None of that worked. And they had assurances. They had Donald Trump's call with whoever. But it was Zelensky at the time, wasn't it?
Yes.
It was
whoever it was.
Was it Zelensky?
Yeah. So
okay. And they had that, and that was supposed to be enough because look what he said. Look what he's asking him to do.
Right.
They did that. They tried that. So for it to be put out there now, I just don't know. If they can't convict him, if it's not about a conviction that puts him in jail where he can't run, we've already established multiple times over the last couple of months, and I've seen on the internet. It's on the internet. It's true, by the way. And I've seen it on the internet that all the senators. There's so many senators or people in Congress that have felonies. So I mean, if it can't put him in jail where he can't run, then it's nothing. It's a waste of time. It's trying to knock him down. But here's the thing that you always get at is when you talk about the American vote. I think the Democrats have an issue the way they're trying to persecute Trump prosecute, because the average person sees, they know why you're doing it. Now, whether it has credence, he did this or he did that, they know why you're doing it. They know the guy's the leading Republican candidate. They know this, and they know the reason why you're doing it. You're not going to really bring in people, moderates and independents, with that type of persecution. And so this is why I don't know what's the end game for. And although that was the Colorado Supreme Court, and this is Michigan, and then you still have the Willis in Georgia, you still have these things, and you haven't really taken this guy out. You've been at him since he's been out of office. I don't know what's the end game. So what's the end game for them?
Well, let's do this. Let's do this then. Let me take this break. If you can hold on, Professor. Come back on the other side. I'll talk a little bit about the end game and give you a chance to wrap up, if that's okay. This is In-Text News Radio, reality radio. Everybody could be a star. We'll be right back after this quick commercial break.
By now, we're all aware of the dangers of COVID-19. Like others with existing health issues, cancer patients are at a high risk due to their compromised condition. If you are newly diagnosed with cancer, your care likely can't wait. Moffitt Cancer Center is the best place for your cancer concerns and to provide guidance to help you plan your next steps. We're here for you. Call 1-888-456-2839 or go to moffitt.org/here for you.
Who doesn't love being number one? When your team's dominating the standings or your favorite band rocks the charts at number one, it feels good, right? Kind of like how it feels when you have auto insurance with State Farm. Because making you feel like number one is an honor your local State Farm agent takes seriously. Through the good times and not so good, your State Farm agent's proud to be here to help life go right.
Call Herman White at 961-6661. That's 961-6661.
Hey, this is Agent Wright, better known as Mr. Clean. You looking for some great barbecues? Come see them two brothers in the grill, located at 423 Virginia Street, Charleston, West Virginia. We got ribs, chicken, pulled pork, brisket, collard greens, mac and cheese, baby. Come get some and get you a nice, smooth cigar. 304-550-4431. That is 304-550-4431. Come get some, baby. The Rib Man, mama, the Rib Man.
Hey, this is Tampa Bay Tammy. Don't forget to pick up your copy of In Touch News.
All right, we're back live on In Touch News Radio, Reality Radio, Radical News. So I got Professor Tony Seabrook on the phone, co-hosting from a remote location nearby. Check this out, Professor. So you one of the things you hit on was this idea of the end game. And unfortunately, we on the Republican side and the Democrat side, our bases want certain things. Like, I couldn't even believe how many Democrats, when Trump was in office, wanted him impeached. They wanted him impeached. They wanted him impeached. And so the Democratic leadership kind of said, okay, fine, it's not going to end in anything, so we'll go through the processes of saying that we impeached him, and we can raise money on that. I think there are some other things on the other side. I think the end game for the Democrats is just reminding everybody of how chaotic a Trump presidency would be, because everything around Trump is chaotic. And so that's what I think this is about. Every time you hear his name, have it associated with some kind of controversy. Have it associated with something that's irregular and seemingly undemocratic. It's not the way that most people want to see, our government operate, just drama. And so I think that's what the end game is, making sure people are reminded of how irregular his behaviors are, some of his activities. Don't worry about his policies. Don't even look at that. But his behaviors. Because, listen, nobody can argue with, hey, we need to be more fiscally responsible. We need to have, adequate border security. We need to have a strong military, things of that nature. Those are hard to argue against. And some of those things are things that he put out. What they're going to say, though, is what comes with him, though, these other things that create such an anxiety and so emotional, we can't tolerate that kind of instability in our president. That's what I think the end game is for why these things. Now, here's the other thing, though. I don't think all these things are coordinated. There's no grand Democrat strategic leadership sending out instructions. Colorado, Supreme Court, act now. Boom. Michigan, your turn. Act now. I don't think that's what it is. I just think these things are organically moving along at the pace that they are within the power or the system that are handling them. Because he's got issues rumbling up in Arizona now, some other states where he stuck his hand into their elections, and they're not, thrilled about it. So, but that's what I think the end game is. Go ahead and give me your final thoughts.
Well, the whole framing of the anxiety that Trump creates, the irony is, it's the Democrats. It was the guy in the pink hat. It was all the feminist movement, and that's not because Donald Trump did anything. It's how the Democrats whip up their base. You guys go out there and just show how how bothered you are. Oh, he said this. So now let's
But he
find
did
a way
say
to be
it.
upset what he said. But these are all, you call them organic. No, these are all created, manufactured issues. The anxieties that Donald Trump creates, most of them are manufactured. You're not going to be this, oh, he's a racist. Oh, I heard him say this about a migrant. And if you go in any other circles, they say the same thing. But it only matters if Donald Trump said it.
I don't know. I don't know how many circles of people saying immigrants are poisoning the blood
of
of
our current president. You can go back to the 70s and get a bunch of his transcripts and say Donald Trump said it without someone knowing, they'd be up in arms. It was Joe Biden that said it. Joe Biden making reference to monkeys and jungles. That was Joe Biden. But no one cares about that. It's only if Donald Trump says it. So here's how I'll wrap it up. I don't think there's a central command that's coordinating these things, but it's been a coordinated effort since the first impeachment to get rid of this guy. And so it makes, to me, my personal, humble opinion, it makes the average person go, what about this old rich white man do they not like? He looks like them in any other way. That's their guy. What about this man that gets them so much that they can't see? This guy's already got court cases. He can't even perform. Let's just call it a job. He can't even perform his job because he has so many court cases. So if I'm an average person, this guy's already embroiled in legal court case. Why am I going to bring another one? I mean, common sense and just compassion has to weigh in. But no, you want us to believe that he needs 10 cases on him. It's almost creating this thing that all Donald Trump has to say is, look, you guys know I'm not perfect, but you guys also know I didn't do half of what they're charging me. Almost every black ex-felon can roll with Donald Trump. If we can't roll with Joe Biden, we can't roll with Barack Obama, who's done nothing wrong. But they can relate to Trump. I didn't even say it, but they're gonna put a charge on me anyway. Oh, they're gonna take me to court. I can't even work because they want to put me in jail. A lot of people can relate to Trump.
That's interesting. So I think that's a great way to put it. Usually, like I said, there is something associated with what he's done. So I get that. But I like the way do you put that? There may be some appeal. There may be some appeal to that, Professor. And of course, I appreciate your perspective. Because I am really trying to understand what this dude is and what has happened with him. But for the Democratic side, we're going to keep beating his head in every chance we get. So he can't, he ain't getting no break over here from us. So, hey, if you don't want us to run the score up, tackle somebody. So, hey, listen, Professor, you have a great, wonderful rest of your weekend. Enjoy your holiday. Thank you as always for calling in and go show some, go out to the local mall and sport that haircut and spend some money.
All right, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Same to you, take care. All right, that's Professor Tony Seabrook calling in, talking to us. I like what he said, Belzo. That people can identify with the seemingly overkill that is perceived to be happening from just Democrats. Well, I don't say Democrats. I would say it's responsible government authorities. If you did something in a state that's against the law should then come down on you, whatever that is. And that's why you're hearing rumblings of potential charges in Arizona, a Republican state. Pennsylvania is more of a was it pink? What is it? Blue and red make, what is it? Purple. There it is. Purple state. It's kind of middle of the road. But it's possible. But every time I hear people going after Donald Trump, he kind of did something. You know, he's giving them something to go after him for. And the best they can do with Joe Biden is go after his son who has a drug illness. Well, that's pretty pathetic because that's really what they're doing. They've not said, they keep saying somewhere in this they were trying to attach something to Joe Biden. But what they're trying to really say is Joe Biden is not nearly he doesn't have the character and the honor and credibility that we think he does, and that's why they're trying to associate him with his son Hunter. Unfortunately, there's just so much stuff to get through with the professor. Couldn't get to it all. So let's do this, Bezel. We're going to take our last break, come back on the other side. Listen, if you're out there and you want to make a call, you want to call in 813-444-9588. 813-444-9588. Give us a call and let's talk it up a little bit. In Touch News Radio, reality radio, everybody can be a star. We'll be right back after this quick break.
Who doesn't love being number one? When your team's dominating the standings, or your favorite band rocks the charts at number one, it feels good, right? Kind of like how it feels when you have auto insurance with State Farm. Because making you feel like number one is an honor your local State Farm agent takes seriously. Through the good times and not so good, your State Farm agent's proud to be here to help life go right.
Call Herman White at 961-6661. That's 961-6661.
Call Ricky. Ask Ricky. You need medical or a lawyer? I got the man to do the legwork for you. We tried the other ones before, so believe we hunted down 813-248-6300. Everything gon' be okay. Call Ricky, he coming. He taking kids scared of Florida. Grab a pen of sundown 184-361-RICK. That's 184-361-425. Never word from the point forward, just recline. Just ask Ricky, plus your boy statewide. Just in case you missed it, I'ma tell you one more time. 184-361-RICK. Call Ricky, ask Ricky is a legal medical referral service. The doctors and lawyers in our network are trained in handling auto injury claims and getting you the best medical treatment and recovery. Dial 1-844-361-RICK. That's 1-844-361-7425. Ricky. Ask Ricky.
We're playing your favorite old school. Today's R&B. With a smooth touch of jazz. You're listening to In Touch Radio.
All right, we're back live on In Touch News Radio, reality radio, right to be a star. I want to thank you all for listening in this morning. Okay, so when I talk to the professor, it's interesting because, I truly want to understand, what's happening in the minds of some of these Republican voters. I mean, just appreciate him, and I would encourage you when you're talking to somebody. We oftentimes spend too much time trying to convince or change their mind and not enough time listening and trying to understand what it is they think, what they believe, and have them convey to you what's on their mind. So with that, we got a caller on the phone. Good morning, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Good morning. It's Carl the trucker calling in. Just enjoying your show, but I got to push back on this impeachment thing. Donald Trump was just like a little spoiled kid running around doing whatever he wanted to do. A lot of people just, most of you Democrats, some of you Democrats, they want someone has to reel this guy back in or give him some kind of consequence. And I think that's why a lot of people want to have him impeached, to show him that he just can't do whatever and whenever he wanted to.
Well, you know what I think? I thought this. I thought the Democrats were embarrassed that he beat Hillary. They were embarrassed because they didn't show up at the polls. All they had to do was go vote. It was sour grapes. They were sore losers. They were pissed that they didn't get what they wanted. And I thought it was a petulant type of temper tantrum to now say we take a process called impeachment, which is reserved for undoing an election. Impeachment is to undo what the voters have done. That's what impeachment is. Something so egregious has happened, we're going to undo what the voters have done. And they took that process knowing full well they did not have the ability to take it to its conclusion, which is to remove somebody from office, right? And they knew that, but they did it anyway. And in doing so, they watered down the impeachment process to just being a political maneuver. And that's how people look at it now. It was a political maneuver. Now, they weren't the first ones to do that. It happened with Bill Clinton. It was a political maneuver because they knew they couldn't take him out, remove him from office. So that's really what the impeachment was about. And you're a long time listener to the show, and I said that at the time. Why are we going through this exercise? Why are we going through these steps when we know at the end of it, you can't take the man out of office? You really have done nothing but call him now. You're now impeached. He was like, yeah, I'm going to get back to the office now. And he went on back into the presidency and continued to do the kind of stuff he was doing. I don't think it was trying to reel him in. I think the Democrats were embarrassed. They were embarrassed because they lost to this clown. That's what that was. They were like, well, how do we lose to this guy? He was surprised he even won. He was like, hey, okay, I guess I got to put some, I got to be president now. So I think that was the idea of it. What are your thoughts about some of these developments this week, Carl? The Supreme Court in Colorado saying, hey, he won't be on the ballot. Do you agree or do you disagree that he should be on the ballot? And then we have this issue up in Michigan where this call comes out saying that President Trump called some canvassers and asked them to change their votes. And then they tried to go back and do it, and they couldn't undo what they had done, and they were offering to get them lawyers and all that stuff. What are your thoughts about those two things?
Well, I think, like Chris is saying, if you take him off the ballot, you're going to anger a lot of people, and you're taking the power away from the people. You want to have, you want to have, let the, people have faith in the democratic system. So if you take the power from them, they're going to stop voting because it's getting kind of scarce of voters now. So, so you want to encourage them more so to be more so. But
I think you're breaking up, Carl. You broke up. Are you still there? I think we lost your call. If you can call back. Here's the thing that bothered me the most about that thing, Colorado, is it doesn't change. We lost your call for a minute. I want to say this about this Colorado Supreme Court ruling. Democrats dominate Colorado presidential elections. So having his name on the ballot, right? So having his name on the ballot or not won't change the outcome of the presidential race. Why? He's not going to win Colorado. He's not going to win. Right. And these states are winner-take-all states. So it doesn't have any effect. What about this thing up in Michigan about this call and him? Do you think this strengthens the federal charges of tampering with the election against him?
I think there should be some kind of consequences for it. I think he needs to. I think he needs to be judged by it, yes.
But there's going to be evidence in the case by Jack Smith, the case against him about January 6th. All of that's going to be put together. That's just evidence. Now, I don't think they should bring a separate case on the federal level for those actions. I could see in Michigan, like Georgia, doing some kind of criminal case where you tried to interfere with our election.
I want this to really expose him for what he is.
But what is he? What is he? But what is he? What is he going to expose?
I think he's really anti. He's really anti. He's really anti United States. If you hear some of the stuff that he says about the United States, so with other countries, he compared the United States to other countries. Just how powerful they are, and some of the, right. We do have some blood on our hands for some of the stuff that they have done, but he really praised a lot of dictators for Putin and the Korean dictator. So I think he just needs to, all this stuff needs to just come out. and let the people judge him from that.
Well, I don't know that what he's like. I think about 78 years old, somewhere in that range. I don't know. There's much
79.
more. 79. Much more for us to learn about Donald Trump. He's pretty degenerate, and I would say he's not anti-American or against the United States. He's just anti-democracy. The man has lived his life as an authoritarian. He's a wealthy white man in America that came up in the 60s and 70s. So he's used to having to be ability to just say what is. So he's got that piece. And so if he's naturally, I think, drawn to dictators who can just say what's going to happen. Well, I want a bridge over here, or tear down that school, or, bring me a ship, or whatever it is. He's used to being able to just say what he wants, as opposed to having to deal with the opinions and make deals with other power leaders, like he has had to do in being in politics. So I think that's the attraction that he has there for him, though. Listen, Carl, appreciate you listening as always. Any last comments on this holiday weekend?
Everybody get out and enjoy the holidays and be safe and stay out of the way of truckers.
All right, Carl, appreciate it. You heard him. Hey, yeah, get those truckers some room to get this stuff delivered so everybody can get these last few Christmas gifts as we go about this holiday season and shopping and whatnot. Listen, want to thank my listeners as always for listening in to the show. Of course, we cannot do this show without you all. Want to thank the professor for calling in and taking time away from his his personal care, getting this trim on and whatnot and stuff. Also want to thank the Johnsons for this platform and what we do here. My main man Belzer behind the boards on the the 1 and 2 keyboards. Doing this thing, man, every Saturday morning. Listen, y'all, you think it's easy every Saturday morning getting up, coming in here? You try for a couple years and see how you feel. But hey, I want to wish everybody a happy New Year. Merry Christmas. Get out, celebrate, have a good time, and most of all, join us back here again next Saturday at 10 a.m. We'll see you then.
Touch Radio, the most loved station across the nation. In Touch Radio. Tell a friend. In Touch Radio.